Half of all Turkish citizens are under 30 years old. Most of them want to leave.
I want to have a future.
President Erdogan rules with an iron fist. Democracy and civil liberties are being increasingly restricted. The young are angry.
We want our freedom of expression back.
Turkey's economy continues to slide. Job prospects for the young are bleak. Those who can leave do. Turkey is in danger of losing its youth. Deniz Benzetsel and her jazz band are rehearsing one last time before the concert. The 26-year-old cellist with the stage name Alaska hopes to soon be able to make a living from her music.
I dream of having my own studio, where I can go straight from home and compose and produce with different instruments. A place where I can improvise without being disturbed.
But Deniz has to be careful in public. Art and music are increasingly censored in Turkey. Musical performances are regularly cancelled over critical lyrics, or the artists are charged by the police. Alaska's lyrics aren't actually political, but the authorities use any excuse to intervene. The successful girl group Manifest was charged with indecent behaviour. And the popular comedian Deniz Göktaş was arrested for insulting the president.
I only feel free when I'm making music under the name Alaska. That's the only reason I do it at all. That may come to an end soon too, but I'll always fight for it.
As Deniz walks across Istanbul's central Taksim Square with her brother after rehearsal, she finds much of it cordoned off by the police.
This is how we prepare for Pride Week.
The barricades are in place to prevent Istanbul's LGBTQ community from gathering for a protest march this weekend. Turkish President Erdogan has been in power for nearly 25 years, and his rule has become increasingly authoritarian. The younger generation is the worst affected. Teachers and students protested angrily last March. Istanbul's Bilgi University had been shut down overnight by the authorities because its operating license had allegedly expired. Batuhan was about to take his final exams. He would have been left without a degree, and his game designer career would have been ruined. He and his fellow students wanted to fight back.
We marched from the cafe over there to the main campus. We made a public statement that it was our university and we wanted to continue our studies. Then we occupied the university for 3 days.
He meets a friend, also named Batuhan. Batuhan Sarı. They want to talk about their future.
I was just talking about the university closure and the protest. The university was closed with the stroke of a pen, but then suddenly the decision was reversed.
They prefer not to make any broader political statements on camera. Young people here are very afraid of repression. Batuhan Sarı is going to Belgium to pursue a master's degree in urban planning.
I'm young and I want to have a future. Career-wise, it was an easy decision for me. But unlike there, here I am a full Turkish citizen with social security and a passport. Abroad, it's complicated even to get my driver's license recognized.
Batuhan Billy is looking for a chance to go abroad. He knows that his degree in game design offers him virtually no job prospects in Turkey. Officially, unemployment stands at 31%.
Most people in my faculty go abroad to find work, even as freelancers. I can't even afford to go to a concert here. And it's better to avoid some events because of their political leanings.
A study has found that 64% of young Turks are considering emigrating. They cite fears about the future, unemployment, and a lack of freedom of expression. Most look towards Europe. Officially, Turkey is still an EU candidate country, but this now seems completely unrealistic. Nearly 1 in 2 Turks under 30 believes their standard of living will continue to decline. The official inflation rate is over 30%. In Istanbul, a metropolis of millions, many people live in economic hardship. 24-year-old Metin Aktar, for example, sells chestnuts and corn on the cob on the streets of Istanbul, like most of the rest of his family. They've been living this way since he was a child.
When I was a kid, I used to leave my school bag up here. Sometimes I walked to school from here.
Like so many others, Metin came to Istanbul with his family from the poorer Anatolia area in search of work. At least he has a job. Nearly a quarter of young people in Turkey neither go to school nor work. But Metin wouldn't want to live anywhere else. He sees himself as a patriot.
I've never even thought about it. I love my country. I wouldn't just leave for money. There are good job opportunities here too. Lots of people have shown that.
In the past, there were frequent clashes between the police and protesters around his stand. Metin agrees with the government ban on these protests.
These protests are often meant as provocations. I think it's right to take a stand against them.
According to a study by Istanbul University, the vast majority of young Turks describe themselves as patriotic and conservative. They tend to be skeptical of LGBTQ rights and immigrants. According to a recent survey, 43% also feel that people cannot speak freely in Turkey, and they are unimpressed with official policy. The majority feel that politicians are ignoring their problems. On the Asian side of the Bosporus, high school graduate Deniz Erbas is preparing to leave home. The 18-year-old has been accepted to a university in Lyon, France, and is now deciding what to take with him.
The things that matter most to me are these figurines that I've collected over the years. And I'll take this car with me.
Deniz talks over last details with his parents before the move. They are disappointed that he won't be studying mechanical engineering in Turkey, as his father did. But they also see young people facing increasing dangers on Istanbul's streets.
There are too many unemployed people in our country. Many are turning to crime, so the number of muggings and thefts is rising.
Violence against women and young people has really increased. But why are you so determined to go abroad?
I went to a French language high school here. I can get my master's degree in France in 5 years and then start working as an engineer right away.
And how do you imagine life in France?
Lyon is a big city. Life there is probably not that different from life in Istanbul. I'm sure there's lots to do and see, so I won't be bored. And my money will go a lot further. A cell phone costs $1,000 here, but I can get one cheaper there.
The high cost of living is also a topic of conversation as singer Deniz, aka Alaska, sits down to breakfast with a friend. Breakfast in Istanbul can cost the equivalent of €15, which they can only afford if they share one. Deniz makes ends meet by giving private music lessons.
But fewer and fewer people can afford private lessons. There's not much interest in cello lessons either. My mum pays the rent. I work 3 days a week, which covers the basics, groceries and coffee. Just enough to get by in Istanbul.
Tonight, Alaska is giving a concert at a small Istanbul jazz club. She plans to tour Turkey with her band soon, and maybe even go abroad someday, but only to visit.
First and foremost, we have to reclaim our freedom of expression here. Art can only be free without censorship.
Metin Aktar is more concerned with making ends meet. Every morning, he returns to his spot with fresh chestnuts and corn on the cob, lights his stove, and dreams of a different life.
My big dream would be to run a large company. Of course, everyone wants to make lots of money and have nice cars.
Hello, good morning.
So while some hope to find a way out of poverty, others want to stay and fight for a freer life in Turkey. Still others prefer to go abroad in search of success and greater freedom.